Sorry, for those of you who just joined us, we're just going through a bit of background. GPS eObservation is a term which we started making up, Sara started making up earlier this year in response to a problem that we had where we wanted to measure real behaviour, okay, so a person's real behaviour. And we came together through a proposal to the ARC, which we actually haven't got yet, we've submitted. But it's done its job in this instance by bringing my commercial organisation, GPS Innovations, together with the university. Sara and I have a shared passion, if you like, or an interest in understanding just how to measure someone's behaviour and their real behaviour, and that's what we're going to look at today. So this is a presentation about our submitted proposal. It actually hasn't got any results yet because we haven't actually done it, but we're hoping that we've got something we can share with you in some other time. To understand why we're here, I thought I might just share a bit of background between, with you about Sara. Sara, give us a wave. Thank you. So Sara is a director of the Institute for Innovation in Business and Social Research for the university. Published 175 times, which I think is incredible, and specialises in measurement issues in the social sciences and market segmentation area. As a result of a few of these grants that we've been applying for, she's now re-addicted to coffee, and that's a photo of her with her family on a bushwalking trip. Who am I? Like I said before, I'm actually not an academic. I run a business called GPS Innovations. And, but my former life, the reason we're talking about market research today is because I used to run a company called Research Now. And for those of you who don't know who Research Now is, we're a company who would do online surveys. It was an international business, luckily, which specialised in bringing people together through an online access panels and asking them surveys online. And I guess that's where I developed a bit of interest in how we could measure people's behaviour, ideally in real time. Technology that makes my life easier is my obsession, and that's a photo of me cycling through the wineries in Mudgee, one of my passions as well. So, what is GPS eObservation? We've defined it as a method for collecting information about a person's actual behaviour and movements. And the three key things about this are that it's passive, we're collecting the information remotely, and it's done in real time. I'm not quite sure if anyone's been reading some of the literature, particularly in the Market Research Society journals recently, but there is this trend towards trying to collect qualitative type data in a quantitative form, and that's what we're looking to achieve. We're looking to do this through a combination of global positioning system, mapping and wireless communication technologies, and ideally we'll end up with a method which is not just used for ourselves but that can be used outside of the work that we're doing. Just a few words on GPS. I've seen a few papers and presentations over the last couple of days that are talking about this sort of technology, if I can get this to work. And of course, the thing to remember is it's an outdoor location technology. So whilst GPS can be used indoors with a repeater and an aerial on the roof, a big one, we're talking about an outdoor location technology, okay? And it's already popular in a number of different areas. So for vehicle tracking, that's a part of our business. Person tracking, asset tracking. There's options, of course, to collect information and data as a data logging device, or to actually collect and send information and transmit information in real time. Whenever you ask someone about a GPS, most people will think it refers to in-car navigation systems. It's an application, of course, and location-based services on a mobile phone. It's a technology which is here to stay, and it's becoming more affordable. Devices that we were manufacturing a year ago are twice as accurate and half the price that they were a year ago, and that brings some fantastic opportunities for research, and it's going to continue to rise in popularity, I think. Why use it for market research? We all know that organisations use market research to develop strategies. It's an input into the decision-making process, and companies are always looking for ways to better record and collect information to power these decisions. Because market research, amongst other things, looks to understand people's behaviour, that's what we're looking to do, find a way that we can collect information about behaviour However, to do this, and this is probably why I flick back to what my old job was, the majority of companies that we used to deal with would use the survey approach to actually measure behaviour. So therefore what we're doing is we're relying on what people say they will do in the future or did in the past as a measure of their behaviour. And this is of course problematic, and the reasons for this problematic issue are fairly obvious, I think. The question is, can people reliably remember what they did or where they went? So if we were to ask you what you did 2 weekends ago, and if you went to the shops, how long you were there for, or what you bought, it might be a little bit problematic. And that's one of the things that we're looking to overcome. This is also, I mean, there's quite a few of these studies popping up over time. But this is one done from 2 chaps at the University of Sydney, where they used some GPS devices. These were data logging devices, person devices, but nonetheless they conducted a study and found that actual behaviour was different to self-reported behaviour by as much as 60%. And of course this is fairly problematic in some situations where you're looking to make decisions. So where we started from was by asking the question, wouldn't it be cool if we could observe actual behaviour in someone's natural environment, and there we go. Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this for multiple people at the same time? So almost that qualitative, quantitative thing that we were talking about a little earlier. There we go. There's obviously options to measure qualitative information or to collect qualitative type information. Focus groups, surveys and diaries, ethnography, and some of the people in this room would have conducted all 3 of those. What we're looking to do, of course, is to come up with something which will complement each of these rather than replace. What we did find is that there's no real existing method, common method, for measuring movement behaviour en masse. Okay. I'll probably just speak a little bit about measuring real behaviour because, of course, for those of you who are aware of measurement, TV, radio ratings, these are devices and technology which do measure actual behaviour. In our last business, we used to drop cookies onto people's computers to measure their online ad exposure and their online behaviour. The cash register scanner data and combining with loyalty programs, of course, is an example of these types of things. What we're saying GPS eObservation is a method for measuring a certain kind of behaviour, which is movement behaviour. So, what are we looking to do? These are 2 feasibility studies which we're looking to conduct later this year as part of the grant, and we've concentrated on 2 particular areas. I'm going to move over here because this works a bit more over here. Tourism market research is the first one. Tracking backpackers using rental vans and gaining an insight into their behaviour, which I'm going to take you through in a second. And social research application as well, where we're looking to improve road safety training and identify these things that we're referring to as grey spots. Why do we choose backpackers? Backpackers, the 3rd highest contributor to Australia's exports, according to ATEC in 2008. There's huge potential for regional development by making non-metropolitan tourism destinations more attractive, and this is certainly, if you're a regional council, I'd imagine that you'd want some of these big spending people coming through your area. International backpackers grew more than the general international tourism market, which is quite nice. They spend twice as much, take part in twice as many activities as other international visitors, and according to these stats last year from Tourism Australia, 74% of people who were backpackers went to regional Australia, but that wasn't 100, and not much is actually known about what they do when they get there and about their decision-making process. So obviously it's a highly attractive market segment to go and chase. Some of the considerations that we had with it, backpackers, by very nature of their definition, are transient. That's what they do. And they can be very difficult to connect with when on the road. So we thought this might be an interesting market to go after. They make decisions on the fly and travel long distances and are very difficult to communicate with. And unlike much of the research that I used to do in my previous world, they're not part of any existing research panel, so they're not easy to go and get to. So what we did is we evaluated a number of different types of technology. I mean, our business manufactures these types of devices, but we also distribute types of devices as well. And that one up there on the right-hand side in the corner, I've been told it looks like an angry device, whatever that means. What that does, we've decided to plug this into the vehicle. So rather than using a mobile phone, which has its challenges, which I'll look at later on, or also a device which you carry with you, which can have some power problems. There we go. It collects information passively and transfers the information in real time, okay, using the cellular data networks. It's also plug and play, and it's completely, the respondents don't need to do anything. Once it plugs in, it actually records not just location and behaviour, but also various other types of behaviour, which I'll actually come to in a second. So movement behaviour can be observed in a non-intrusive way, and relatively in their natural environment once they forget that the devices are in there. Where the backpacker study we're looking to do is going to involve 200 backpackers, and we're going to give them free membership to an online community that we're actually going to create and sort of integrate into their other social media platforms like Facebook and MySpace. And most importantly for a backpacker, of course, we're going to give them free internet access. So not only can they participate in the community, of course, but they also get free we're going to track them on a trip, and we're going to analyse their movement data as well as the inquiries they make in the community or diary, I guess is another way of describing it. This thing here is not the diary or community that we're going to be using. What this is another site which we've developed for another purpose. But I call it my experience purposes of showing what this might look like. And what we're being able to do in another type of study is actually share the information that comes directly from the vehicle automatically into actually trips, and it gives the person the opportunity to share some information, completely voluntary, of course, share information about why they made some certain decisions and where they went. This is probably the most interesting way I can describe what we're about to do. I'm not quite sure how well that replicates up on the screen there. But this is actually a trip of mine that I went to Melbourne just a couple of weeks ago. Hired a hike up the airport, and little green dots here, just a pole, got set every minute or so, and the orange dots say that I stopped off and relaxed. Appointment, another appointment, and to be able to go. So what this thing does, of course, and this is this tracking type technology, is it'll record how fast I was going, where I was going, how long I was stopping off for. So that's quite interesting. But this little green area is a version of the geofence that we've used to say this is an area of interest for us. Okay, so I'll use Melbourne as an example, but it could be a lot. It could be a particular geographic point of interest. And it will record automatically how long I'm in this area for. It will also record and give you a trigger or an alert to say that someone of interest is actually moving to the area. These little blue pins here could potentially be tourist point of interest. Okay, so what we can start doing is understanding which points of interest they're actually moving past, going to, how much time they're spending there, and giving us an idea of whether or not there's something we can do. The other thing that we can do, of course, is that part of the group, we might choose to interact with them along the way to see what sort of advertising messages and so on, and lots of information goes along to it, which I think would be quite of interest to the regional tourism community. So what we've got, we actually do that and everything gets achieved. Then we've got a passive way of collecting data, actual data, verified data, recorded automatically the destination within the time of location, their travel time, even the driver behaviour, which some of the other government departments will be interested to know. And almost the privacy and security implications there are. And this has been a bit of a theme for the last couple of days, I think. There's significant privacy implications, of course, regarding sticking some devices into vehicles of people who are driving around. In my view, I guess I've been fortunate to have quite a lot of experience in this area, certainly through the last couple of years. And privacy is very strongly linked to permission and therefore trust. So unless we have their trust, we don't have their permission, and therefore we can't actually prove this information. All participants are going to be aware exactly how their data is going to be used, and they're also going to be providing that express permission about this. And again, people ask me, how do you know it's going to happen? Again, over the last couple of years, we've got some people to start all sorts of research programs, as long as they feel that their data is being looked after. The bottom point there, data security is a very important component. If someone feels as though their location information is going to be used against them or for any particular reason, just like the study. So what we're looking to do with this initiative is actually process information using the software we've got, and then effectively dump the data so that people can't use it for legal. The second one that I mentioned to you, so that was backpackers. The second one we're going to look at is road safety. So there's some stats up there on the screen, which I find staggering. Some of them are a little bit old, but they do illustrate it beautifully. In 2006 in Australia, 1,602 people died, 4,619 people suffered a disability, all the way through there to 216,000 people suffered an injury from a road accident, but were treated outside of hospital. That's in 2006. The stats aren't too different now. So why do we look at road safety training? I used to be a learner driver once, and I used to be a P-plate driver once. And there's a few people in this room who are probably in a similar sort of situation. What we're not looking to do is use this technology to monitor or for surveillance purposes. What we're looking to do with this type of technology for this particular project is look at if we can monitor, if we can record information directly from the vehicle, and we're talking about acceleration, deceleration, speed, RPM, certain types of safety and behaviours, okay, directly from the vehicle. During that period, then what we'll be able to do is maybe look at methods in which people can be either trained better or how their behaviour differs from the time that they get their learner's permit through to the time that they get their P-plate licence. I was speaking to some road safety experts recently, and they said that something happens as soon as the licence is handed over at the RTA or elsewhere in the world. Here's a bit of a method. 5 minutes, beautiful. I'm going to be a little bit early, yeah, okay. I'm going to race through this. I mean, basically, this study is going to be involving 3 groups, experimental group and 2 control groups, to actually measure behaviour depending on what information we feed through to these people. And the last one, as part of this road safety, is the identification of grey spots. So if we were to grab 200 people, say from the Illawarra, and got them to drive around, almost like a driver panel again, using the similar sort of technology, a vehicle technology, what we'll be able to do is it picks up directly from the vehicle, again, harsh acceleration, harsh braking, over RPM, and it might give us an opportunity to understand where grey spots might appear, i.e. grey spots being before they turn into black spots, before accidents actually occur. And this is probably the best way I can illustrate that. This is the last slide of my chat today. I'm not quite sure again how well that replicates all the way up through there, but these little red dots that have come directly from the vehicle, this is for illustration purposes, of course, but if there was a concentration of red dots, which was an over RPM trigger, or a harsh acceleration trigger, or a harsh braking trigger, in wet weather, or dry weather, or nighttime driving across those 200 people, and you can imagine this is Illawarra, then that may give us an indication that there's something that someone should go out and have a look at. That's it.
Drivers who are realising the GPS observer
Yeah, we thought about that. I mean, as part of this, is that better? As part of this project, we actually, I've got a relationship with 2 or 3 of the largest backpacker van companies, and so the sample that we're likely to select is going to be, in the initial instance, out of a particular location to be able to control that. But the people won't necessarily be self-selecting, so they'll be given the opportunity to participate in a project just like anyone else would for a normal project. And what we figured is that the thing that we'll need to do is work out whether there's some sort of bias or skew to people who would normally hire from that particular organisation, rather than necessarily giving them the option of anyone choosing to do it, if that makes sense. Does that answer the question?
You're obviously thinking about it, so is this the case, that work at the outfits around, okay, you get free gear coverage with this company?
Yeah,
So people look at it as a trade-off, so
that's right.
So it's a good deal, so they'll chase that up, people say, I don't know privacy implications, and that's use your sample set.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that for any project that involves this, my experience tells me that the approach and communication and the way that it's delivered, the messages delivered to people as they're about to participate, will have a massive influence over whether or not it sounds interesting. So that's where to me it all comes back to the privacy and the security of the data. If we can convince people that we're actually not collecting it for any other reason than what we can show them, we can actually show them a few reports prior to that of what we can actually see and how the process happens. I mean, our company gets audited by PwC every 6 months to make sure we do what we say we do, and that's a big consideration. Is the privacy of that?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
As with all technology, there are trade-offs involved. With this technology, you could see, as it exponentially evolves, you could see that the size of whatever the device could shrink down to, like RFID chips, which it could have military applications, police applications, criminal applications, where people are basically tracked without their knowledge. How would you, in other words, is the legal structure behind the times in order to basically counter the dark side?
Yeah, it's a really good question actually. A lot of this work does come down to privacy, and I was having this conversation last night at dinner where privacy legislation in Australia is actually often determined by the states, and we do a lot of work with businesses, so outside of the research work that we do, actually work with companies to put these devices into vehicles to ideally make their vehicles safer, but of course the byproduct of that is that we're actually doing vehicle tracking and employee surveillance, and there is employee surveillance legislation in every state, particularly New South Wales, but it's different, slightly different. And so the overriding advice that we've had from the legal people that we've spoken to, and we've spoken to quite a few, is that people need to know what's happening with their data, and that there's a surveillance device, and they're being monitored for these types of things, and this is what's happening with data. And we have to have a privacy policy in place that we have to stick to. So from that point of view, it covers off quite nicely. So as long as everyone's playing by the rules, it's all fine. Mm-hmm. If, for instance, someone got hold of one of those little devices that I showed up on the screen, it would take, it takes about 3 seconds to install, and unless you're a mechanic, you probably wouldn't find it. And so that's where the legislation becomes interesting, because it doesn't cover off what the penalties are for those who choose to do those sorts of things. My advice would be you have to do that, because privacy is becoming an extremely, it will become heavily legislated, and these types of things, my belief is. And so for the purposes of this, and for the purposes of conducting research, my suggestion would be to get sign-off